My name is Giudice. I'm the team leader for a team working on access to justice at the UN Office on Drugs and Crime based in Vienna, Austria.
Perfect, thank you. So our first question for you is, what is the UN doing to advance victims' rights?
So, as you know, the UN has many different organizations. UNODC works on victims' rights in general and also on victims of particular types of crime, like victims of trafficking, victims of terrorism, uh, victims of corruption as well. So what we do is we help countries revise their legislation, change their policies, provide training. We also provide global handbooks and manuals, model legislation. For instance, my colleagues working on terrorism have worked with the International Parliamentary Union to develop model legislative provisions on victims of terrorism. So this is some of the examples of what we do.
Perfect, thank you. And the second question we have is, with 6 years to go, how are we progressing in reaching the SDGs in relation to victims' rights?
So we're not doing great. Some of the indicators of SDG 16, which is the SDG on rule of law, justice, peace, and inclusive institutions, are advancing in the right direction, but others are not advancing or going backwards. One aspect, of course, is that we're missing data. So around maybe 30 to 40 countries on most of the indicators are actually collecting data. So the knowledge we have is limited. We don't have the information from all countries. But what we see is that the progress is going slow on many of the topics. On victims, for instance, we have looked at the number of victims who report being victimized to authorities. And from the data we have, it's less than, I believe, 50%, which is still, that's an average, of course, and that's based on the countries that have data. So most probably it's much lower. And if you look at it from, I think the scope is from, some countries it's only down to 6%.